A little girl was excited for her first airplane trip to Disney, but what she and her mother didn't imagine was that lightning would strike the plane and she would be the only one who could save everyone, and that on that day her world would change forever. The airport was bustling as usual, with an endless coming and going, where people from all over the world met, each with their own story and destination. It was a sunny morning, typical of that place, where the hustle of the most delayed travelers created a symphony of familiar sounds. The buzzing of luggage carts, the constant announcement of flights on the speakers, the laughter of anxious children, and the buzz of adults in hurried conversations. Olivia and her little Emma, a 5-year-old girl, stood out among the crowd, not only for the evident love they radiated for each other, but also for the undeniable anxiety that their faces transmitted. It was their first time traveling together to Disney World in Orlando. The mother, with her calm expression and affectionate smile, contrasted with the effervescence of little Emma, whose eyes sparkled with the promise of adventures and magic. "I'm so happy, Mommy. I can't wait to meet Mickey," exclaimed Emma, jumping for joy next to Olivia. "Mommy is happy too, sweetheart. It will be an incredible trip, full of unforgettable moments," replied Olivia, affectionately stroking her daughter's hair. Together, mother and daughter strolled through the airport corridors, while they waited for their flight, immersed in a world of possibilities and expectations. They passed by shops full of souvenirs and mementos, where they ended up acquiring colorful stickers with Disney characters to decorate their suitcases. Each purchase was a small step closer to the magical world that awaited them. To the sound of cheerful music echoing through the corridors, Emma couldn't contain her energy and started dancing, infecting the other passengers with her joy. Olivia, proud of her daughter's spontaneity, captured the moment in photos and videos that would certainly be remembered for many years. Before boarding, a kind attendant from one of the sticker shops presented Emma with a special Bon Voyage sticker, a gesture that touched Olivia's heart, further reinforcing the magic of that journey. With the boarding procedures completed, mother and daughter entered the waiting area, where they found a children's play area. There, Emma played animatedly with other children, forming brief bonds that, nevertheless, helped make the wait lighter and more enjoyable. The long-awaited moment finally arrived when Olivia and Emma's flight was called for boarding. Together, they made their way to the line, carrying their suitcases filled with expectations and dreams. As they waited to board the plane, Emma, as curious as only a child can be, bombarded her mother with questions about how airplanes were able to fly so high in the sky. "Mommy, how can such a big and heavy airplane fly?" Emma inquired, her eyes filled with fascination. "Well, darling, an airplane is like a big mechanical bird. Its wings and engines are designed to carry us through the skies," explained Olivia, smiling at her daughter as she imagined the wonder of flight through her eyes. Finally on board, mother and daughter were greeted by a friendly flight attendant, who helped them find their seats. The pilot made the customary announcements, while the flight attendants presented the safety instructions. Olivia helped Emma adjust her seatbelt, while the little one absorbed every detail with attentive eyes. With a gentle push, the plane started to move away from the runway, gradually accelerating until suddenly the ground disappeared beneath them and they were suspended in the air. It was as if the world below transformed into a mosaic of colors and shapes, and mother and daughter shared that moment of ecstasy and wonder. Emma, barely able to contain her excitement, pressed her face against the airplane window, watching fascinated every movement as the aircraft gained altitude. "Look, Mommy, we're flying," exclaimed Emma, her voice filled with admiration. "Yes, darling, we're flying to Disney World," replied Olivia, tenderly squeezing her daughter's hand as the plane cut through the skies. As the plane reached its cruising altitude, the seatbelt lights dimmed, signaling that passengers could move freely around the cabin. For Olivia and Emma, it was just the beginning of a journey filled with emotions, adventures, and, of course, lots of magic. Olivia carefully selected some entertainment materials for Emma during the flight. Inside her handbag, there was a variety of options: colored papers, crayons, activity books, and even some simple puzzles. She wanted to ensure that the journey would be as enjoyable as possible for her 5-year-old daughter, who was visibly excited about her first airplane journey. The girl, Emma, was in ecstasy. Her eyes sparkled with anticipation as she picked up one of the papers and began to draw with her colored pencils. Her small hands glided across the paper, bringing to life a vibrant airplane adorned with the brightest colors her pencil case could offer. With surprising skill for her age, Emma added details to the drawing, including the iconic Disney logo with bold letters standing out on the imaginary aircraft's fuselage. As Emma immersed herself in her art, Olivia watched with admiration. She felt a wave of gratitude for having the opportunity to share moments like this with her daughter. Every pencil stroke was a reminder of the love and special bond they shared, a connection that strengthened with every smile and shared hug. Time flew by quickly, and soon a friendly flight attendant began to circulate through the cabin, offering drinks and snacks to the passengers. Emma promptly chose an orange juice, with a shiny packaging that reflected her joy, and a pack of cookies that would soon be devoured during the flight. Olivia, on the other hand, opted for a cup of coffee, needing a little energy boost to face the hours ahead. As they savored their snacks, mother and daughter exchanged knowing smiles. For Emma, that moment was more than just a snack break. It was an opportunity to share a special moment with her mother, a moment she would always fondly remember. But behind the facade of joy and excitement, Olivia carried a heavy burden. She knew that this trip meant much more than just a Disney adventure for her daughter. It was a chance to temporarily escape the difficulties that had plagued their lives in the past few months. The recent divorce had left deep scars on both of them. For Emma, the absence of her father was a constant pain, a void that no magical trip could completely fill. And for Olivia, the responsibilities of raising a child alone and maintaining her own sanity while dealing with the pressures of work and the emotions of the divorce were overwhelming. However, despite all the adversities, Olivia was determined to make this trip an unforgettable moment for Emma. She had saved every penny, sacrificing her own needs to ensure that her daughter could enjoy the magic of Disney without restrictions. And as she looked at Emma's radiant face, Olivia knew that every sacrifice would be worth it. "Let's make this the best trip ever, Emma," Olivia said, intertwining her hand with her daughter's. "Let's explore every corner of Disney together and create memories that will last forever," she added. Emma's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Yes, Mommy, it will be amazing," she replied, squeezing her mother's hand tightly. And so, mother and daughter embarked on the next phase of their journey, ready to face the challenges and adventures that awaited them. But what they didn't know was that, in a few hours, their lives would be transformed in a way they could never have imagined. The tranquility that surrounded the flight began to slowly dissipate after nearly 4 hours of travel, as the once serene skies turned into a whirlwind of darkness and chaos. The plane, previously gliding smoothly through the air currents, was suddenly engulfed by a furious storm, whose restless claws threatened to tear it from the skies at any moment. As the dark clouds loomed menacingly ahead, the pilot, whose experience and skills were put to the test, struggled to keep the aircraft stable. However, the elements were beyond his control, and soon violent turbulence began to shake the plane like a toy in the hands of a merciless child. As passengers were tossed from side to side in their seats, a sense of panic began to creep into the cabin. Fearful screams echoed through the aisles, competing with the deafening sound of the wind and the rain relentlessly pounding against the exterior of the aircraft. It was then that the pilot realized that contact with the control tower had been lost, severed by the force of the storm surrounding them. Desperate to re-establish communication, he made the difficult decision to try to escape the storm by increasing the altitude of the plane. However, what no one could predict was the tragedy that would follow. As the plane struggled to climb higher, a bolt of lightning tore through the skies, striking the aircraft with devastating force. A blinding flash illuminated the cabin for a brief moment, followed by a deafening explosion that reverberated through the bowels of the plane. In an instant, all control systems were compromised, plunging the cabin into total darkness. The lights flickered and went out, leaving the passengers in suffocating darkness. Oxygen masks dropped from the overhead compartments, swinging dangerously as the plane was rocked by violent tremors. A shock-induced silence settled in the cabin, interrupted only by the screams of terror echoing through the aisles. The flight attendants, whose rigorous training had prepared them for emergency situations, struggled to maintain composure as they rushed through the cabin, trying to distribute oxygen masks and provide guidance to panicked passengers. Their voices were muffled by the turmoil unfolding around them, but they persevered, determined to fulfill their duty until the last moment. "It's okay, Emma," whispered Olivia, her hands trembling as she tried to help her daughter put on the oxygen mask. "We're safe, we'll be okay," she repeated, her words an echo of hope amidst the darkness. Meanwhile, in the cockpit, the pilot and his team fought against the odds, trying to restore at least part of the compromised systems. Their hands flew over the controls, their faces bathed in the pale glow of the dim instrument screens. Every move was a race against time, a desperate battle for survival. As the plane continued to lose altitude, panic among the passengers reached almost unbearable levels. Cries of despair echoed through the cabin, mingling with the sound of the howling wind and the rain relentlessly beating against the aircraft's exterior. Amidst the chaos, the faith of those on board was being tested to the limit. "I love you, Emma," whispered Olivia, squeezing her daughter tightly. "I'll always be by your side, no matter what happens." Her mother's words were a ray of light in the darkness, a promise of comfort and safety in a world that seemed to be crumbling around them. And so, as the plane continued its desperate struggle for survival, Olivia and Emma's journey took an unexpected turn, challenging them to find courage where only fear existed, and hope where only despair existed. The lives of everyone on board were now hanging by a thread, precariously swinging between life and death in a universe of uncertainties. The tension in the air was almost palpable, weighing like a dark cloud over the hearts of passengers and crew. The flight, which had begun with the promise of a smooth journey, now unfolded into a distressing nightmare before the eyes of everyone on board. "Mom, I'm scared," whispered Emma, her big, frightened eyes meeting her mother's. Olivia, though consumed by fear, forced a reassuring smile, firmly holding her daughter's hand. "It's okay, sweetheart. Everything will be okay," she murmured, her words a fragile promise amidst the darkness. While passengers struggled to stay calm, the crew worked feverishly to contain the crisis unfolding before them. The pilot and his team gathered in the cockpit, their minds racing as they tried to find a solution to the unfolding tragedy. "We're running out of time. We need to do something now," exclaimed the pilot, his face twisted with anguish. The team's eyes met in a moment of silent understanding, each knowing the weight of the responsibility resting on their shoulders. With renewed determination, they embarked on the gargantuan task of stabilizing the plane, their fingers flying over the controls as they battled the forces threatening to bring them crashing from the skies. For an agonizing moment, the plane trembled and shook, its engines howling in protest against the gravity pulling them down. And then, miraculously, the plane began to right itself, its wings slicing through the air in a desperate dance against the darkness. A collective sigh of relief filled the cabin as the aircraft finally stabilized, hovering in the air like a wounded bird, but not defeated. However, the calm was only temporary, and the real challenge was yet to come. With the plane systems compromised and communication with the control tower lost, the crew faced a race against time to restore order before it was too late. As the pilot and his team frantically debated possible solutions, a glimmer of hope appeared on the horizon. The co-pilot, with his experience in electrical engineering, identified a possible solution to the problem plaguing them. "If we can reconnect the cables in the maintenance compartment, we might be able to regain control of the plane," he suggested, his voice filled with determination. But there was a problem. The maintenance compartment could only be accessed from outside the plane, or through a small opening inside the aircraft, but an adult couldn't fit through it. The flight attendants then explained the situation to the passengers, saying that they needed a child to access the maintenance compartment. It was then that an unlikely idea emerged, involving the courage of a child and the unwavering love of a mother. Olivia, seeing the opportunity to save not only her own life but also everyone on board, volunteered her daughter, Emma, for the dangerous mission. One of the flight attendants approached Emma and explained everything in a way the little girl could understand, preparing her for what she was about to face. Little Emma filled herself with courage, looked at her mother, and said, "Mommy, I'm going to make you so proud." "You always make me proud, my love," exclaimed Olivia, holding back her tears. Emma's heart pounded so hard it felt like it might burst out of her chest as she ventured into the tight maintenance compartment. The space was dark and filled with tangled wires, each representing a vital piece of the puzzle that was the plane's electrical system. The co-pilot, with his calm and reassuring voice, was the only link between the girl and the salvation of everyone on board. "Emma, can you see the blue wire? It's important to connect it to the blue hole." His voice echoed through the radio, cutting through the agonizing silence in the cabin. Emma looked around, her eyes adjusting to the darkness as she searched for the right wire amidst the jumble of cables. Her fingers trembled as she found the blue wire and connected it to the designated spot. But the challenge was far from over. The girl, with her childish determination, continued to follow the co-pilot's instructions, guided only by the dim light of a flashlight that one of the flight attendants had given her. Each wire connected was a step closer to safety, but also a constant reminder of the responsibility resting on Emma's fragile shoulders. Meanwhile, in the cockpit, the tension was undeniable. The pilot, the flight attendants, and the passengers waited with hearts aflutter, every minute feeling like an eternity as they awaited the outcome of Emma's rescue mission. The radio was their only connection to the brave girl fighting against time in the dark confines of the maintenance compartment. "You're doing wonderfully, Emma," praised the co-pilot, his voice conveying a mix of admiration and encouragement. Emma's eyes gleamed with determination as she pressed on, guided by the desire to save everyone on board the plane. Each wire connected was an act of childish heroism, a testament to the power of love and courage in the face of imminent danger. And then, finally, the decisive moment arrived. The last wire lay before her, gleaming in the faint glow of the flashlight. Emma held her breath as she grasped the green wire in her trembling hands. It was the final obstacle between them and safety, between the stormy skies and the calmness of the heavens. "Are you ready, Emma? This is the last wire. Connect it to the green hole, and we'll succeed," said the co-pilot, his words filled with hope. With one final sigh, Emma followed the instructions, plugging the green wire into the right place. And then, like a miracle, the lights flickered back on, the engines purred back to life, and the plane regained control. A deafening roar of relief echoed through the cabin as passengers hugged each other and cried tears of gratitude. Emma emerged from the maintenance compartment, her face dirty and tired, but radiant with the thrill of victory. Olivia ran to her, arms open in a tight embrace of mother and daughter. "You were amazing, Emma," said Olivia, tears of pride in her eyes. "You saved us all." The flight attendants gathered around the girl, their voices choked with emotion as they expressed their gratitude. Even the pilot, his voice echoing through the cabin, couldn't contain his admiration for the bravery of the little heroine. "Thank you, Emma," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. "Thanks to you, we'll continue our flight safely." And so, with hearts full of gratitude and relief, the plane continued its journey through the skies, carrying with it the story of a courageous girl who faced danger head-on and emerged as a true hero. Emma felt immensely relieved, as if a great weight had been lifted off her shoulders, as if safety and happiness had returned to her in a single instant. The relief that flooded her heart was overwhelming, a sensation she hadn't experienced since the onset of the terrifying turbulence. Despite the lingering fear that accompanied her, she now found herself surrounded by a renewed calm, a sense of accomplishment that only true courage can provide. She looked around, absorbing the atmosphere of relief that spread throughout the airplane cabin. The expressions of gratitude and admiration on the faces of the other passengers echoed the feeling of triumph she herself felt. Emma knew she had faced an extreme situation and, against all odds, emerged as a true heroine. Emma and Olivia were invited to enjoy the remainder of the flight in first class. The captain asked for Emma to come to the cockpit so that he and the CO pilot could personally thank the girl for her heroic gesture. When the airplane finally touched down on safe ground, Emma was greeted by a scene of great excitement at the airport. The staff, already informed about the girl's incredible feat, eagerly awaited to applaud her upon her arrival. The echo of applause and words of gratitude filled the air, a celebration of the courage and determination of a child who refused to succumb to danger. Passengers and staff joined together to honor Emma, acknowledging her bravery and generous spirit. As she disembarked the plane, a radiant smile illuminated her face, reflecting the gratitude and pride she felt. As a gesture of recognition for her bravery, the airline decided to reward Emma and her mother with free airfare for an entire year. It was a well-deserved reward for her unwavering courage and indomitable spirit. Finally, mother and daughter could fulfill the long-cherished dream of a trip to Disney. Together, they would create precious memories and share moments of joy and happiness that would last forever in their hearts. Emma's story of heroism quickly spread around the world, inspiring people of all ages and backgrounds. She became a symbol of hope and determination, a powerful reminder that even the youngest among us are capable of extraordinary feats when fueled by the power of love and courage. From that moment on, Emma was hailed as the girl who saved an airplane with her unwavering bravery, a true heroine who faced fear head-on and emerged victorious. Her story would continue to inspire future generations, a lasting testimony to the transformative power of everyday heroism. If you liked the story, I'm sure that one of the videos that is here on the screen will move you too. But before you click, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our next videos. A big hug and see you in the next story.